Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to talk about our witch's grimoire. You don't have to take notes. This one is just going to be showing you some interesting imagery and some examples to give you maybe some inspiration so that you can see what it is that you like and different styles, so that over time we'll do this over time. I've made several of these, and it's going to take you months and years, so it doesn't have to be perfect either. You can change as you go. So let's see, Sandra, can I mute you? Or you guys you guys are having a chit chat. Oh, it says it's there. Now you're muted. Yeah, that's fine. So welcome, and sit back and relax. I'm going to share the screen. If you're uncertain about this word, it's pronounced grimoire. And if you look it up in the dictionary, of course, our patriarchal dictionary, a magician's manual for invoking demons. For goodness sake. It's also been called a book of chiromancy. And that to me is about bringing our magic into our daily lives. Who was Kairos? The god of special moments. Time is suspended. You can see he's got the scales there, but he's able to touch it and manipulate it himself. So I use my grimoire to remember the things that I want to be able to remind myself as I'm going through my day about my inner realm and my magical life. Your grimoire is going to be your special, very personal portal. It's like a doorway into your magic world. Mine are private. I have a couple that I did with some art groups online, and those weren't so private, but the one that I have now that has my sigils, it's totally private. Here's a page that I made for somebody else. You're going to touch this with your hands, and you're going to put in there the things that you cherish and hold dear. So this book, or this pile of papers, or this computer document is going to be filled with your magic. It's also called a book of enchantments. Remember when we were talking about memory devices? This is sort of a memory device also. So you could think of it as an incredibly beautiful castle. And in each room, maybe each room is a chapter or just a couple of pages that has to do with, maybe you have your prayers in one section, maybe you have your saints in another section. Those are all rooms within your sacred castle. Here's another sacred castle, but look how different it looks. So that's what you're going to decide here in the coming weeks is, how do you want yours to feel? How is it inspiring to you? Because you're going to build this from the ground up. These pages are going to be filled with information you get to decide also what you're going to put in there. And how some people do it chronologically, like this room, right? Somebody had a bookshelf and then they bought another book and then they bought a bottle of tincture and then that goes up there. So this is more of a collection based on when you get something, you just put it in there. It doesn't have to be completely organized. This is an inspiring room. Wouldn't you like to stand in there? And I would love to be nosy and look in all the drawers and look under the table. And maybe yours is filled with, maybe you specialize. So yours is filled with plants or crystals or prayers or beads. You don't put anything in this book that you don't love. And if something changes for you, then you take it out. It's kind of like your closet. You want to have clothing that fits you at this time. So things may change. There is a vastness of possibility within your spiritual nature, and you can include anything that you want. This was a page that I made for somebody who wanted a grimoire page about the oak tree. So I think the first thing is to decide, how do you want your book to look and how do you want it to feel? What can you do to make it match and reflect what happens when you go into your imaginal realm, so that when you open this book, you're going into your imaginal realm? There are all sorts of ways that we can make things look old, colored, and as we march through this process, we can talk about any of those things. We want to create a look that inspires you. So when you pick it up, all you have to do is see it, and you step into your most magical self. And it can be anything. Very modern looking, like a magazine or a web page. Old, retro, aged, shiny, colorful, Art Deco, whatever you can think of. So now I'm going to take you through different forms that the grimoire can be in. What comes to mind at first is a journal. What I did was I I had an old it wasn't old actually, it was a cookbook that was sturdy and it was the right size, and I kept picking it up and thinking, this is going to be my next grimoire. So I modified that book. You can you can do playing cards, altered playing cards, like index cards, because then you can rearrange it, put things in sections, do the front and the back, redo it if you change your mind. You can do this with any size. I have a collection of 4x6s. I have a collection of 5x7s, and they're loose. And I stack them and rearrange them however I'd like. You can put them in a 3-ring binder if that's appealing, because now you've got a cover and you have a way to keep them attached in there. You can rearrange. You can also be really creative with that. The page doesn't have to be 8.5 by 11. It can fold out. if you have a map in there, you can put any size envelope. You can do altered mail. And it's perfectly fine to make a computer document. We have so many writing and organizing applications and software available now. If that's what you want to do, because you can arrange it and add to sections, then that is completely valid. We can hand make a book, and I'm going to show you 2 of those that I did, and we can do a mini class on that if you want to. It just uses cardboard and fabric and glue, anything you can think of, really. Kids' board books are really fun to paint over the image and then put what you want on there, or you make art on another page and you paste it on top of the board book. Then you have a nice sturdy book that you can put in your bag and bring with you. So here's a picture of my grimoire. There's my cookbook, and it has this crazy fuzzy fabric because I walk into Joann's and I go right to the bin of the fabric that nobody wants, and I find all the best fabric. So we can talk about how to do that if you like this kind of idea.
So I go and close my door.
Hi,
Sorry.
Becca. It's
Apologies.
okay.
I'm sorry. I thought I was muted. Apologies.
It's okay. And you can see inside my book, it's a cookbook. And so I either paste on top of there or I gesso, and then I make art on top of the cookbook pages. And it's nice sturdy paper. That's one thing to think about, is how nice the paper is if you're gonna modify a book, and it's gonna be around for a while, because you want it to keep its form and not fall apart right away. Here are some altered playing cards. And look, there's sewing on top of them. You can cut from magazines, really anything, postage stamps. You can cover them up and just write prayers on here, incantations. This is about what you can imagine. And if you imagine something, how do I make it? How do I make it the way I want it? 3-ring binder can look beautiful. There are so many out there. There's all different sizes. The Japanese have got different sizes with not 3-ring binders, but 4 or 5, and they're not just 8.5 by 11. So if that's something you're interested in, then you know your investment is in that binder, and then you can find the papers to put in there. And if you don't want to make an investment, then we can certainly figure out a way for you to create a magical piece out of what is already in your house. Computer document, very flexible. There are a lot of people on YouTube who have their grimoires in computer documents. You can even put pictures in there. You know, you scan everything in and then it becomes digital. Here's one of the little handmade books. I'll flip through it in a few minutes so you can see, but that's choosing fabric and making 2 covers, and then putting whatever you want for pages in there, special paper, fabric, tracing paper, mail, whatever you want. And if you want, we can do a class on this. It's really fun. You can see, you hold in the signatures with thread, and then you can see what's inside here in the middle, how it's bound together. Fabric scraps. This is from shopping bags, the brown paper. There's some pages from magazines. Junk mail is great for getting something sturdy and then painting over it, folding it in half, put it in there, and you have a beautiful holder for something you want to draw or write. Here's another one, and I just took a picture so you could see. You just cut the fabric, and if you want to learn, we'll do a class. See, there's a heavier piece of cardboard that comes in the mail, and fabric scraps, and you can see I used a pretty piece of paper that a friend sent that was wrapping something. And it's a short piece. All the pages aren't the same. You get to do exactly what you want. And more fuzzy fabric. There's the inside. Here's a board book, right? So this used to have some sort of, I don't remember what was in there. And then you put art on top. When I spoke of the 4x6 and the 5x7 cards, I had my husband make me this, a front and a back of the grimoire. And now I just tie it together with a very special ribbon sent to me by a dear friend. And that's how everything stays inside. And this is completely mobile. It can go in my basket when I drive to town as a reminder that it's not just about appointments and being on time. I bring my magic with me in a lot of ways. So here's just some art. These are pages that were made for me. I belong to an online group and we traded. And so they're all different themes. Just to give you an idea, we would do art on one side and then decorate the back side. So the bottom piece here is the back side of this about herbs so that I could write something on there. Everybody knows I love mermaids and the Hamsa hand. So now you're getting into, start making a list. What do I want to put in here? Do I want my astrology in here?
Hmm.
And you can see this artist, she used tea or coffee to make her watercolor paper brown. Everybody's got a tea bag. You want it to be red, you use a hibiscus tea or, chamomile tea. If you love whatever you love. Elementals. The different moons as they relate to the trees. So you can see this was created for me in 2012 and it's still a precious treasure. And that's the back side of it, this Celtic knot. The planting and the moon. Sweep in love and light, sweep out fear and fright, sweep in peace and protection, sweep out negative projection. You could put quotes that you love. You could put song lyrics. There I go with my sigils. I made this one. And that's the back side. I was creating a portal. Recipes. Do you have recipes that help you to fall asleep or overcome the stress of the day? Those can go in here. So start writing down categories. Imagine in your mind, it's kind of like how you organize your home or your file cabinet. There are so many ways that you can make it your own. Papers as you go through your days. If you want to do art, collect papers that come across your desk. If people write you a note and you want to save that, that's a good thing to keep in there. Pretty envelopes, stamps. I'll show you a picture. I like tracing paper that I'll put on top of something because it gives it a, that translucent look. Any kind of colored paper. You can use food dye, paints. You can use onion skins. If you boil beets, you can dip your watercolor paper in that. Do you have old books? Maybe you have an old, what I like to do is use an old Bible because then I'm putting our magic right on top of patriarchy. Music sheets are beautiful things to use. So if there's a yard sale in your neighborhood and there are some old books, then maybe that's the way to go. Use an old bound book, and then you can figure out a way to close it to keep everything inside. Envelopes are really fun to put in. You can glue an envelope in there and then put notes from friends, put leaves from this fall, put seeds from your poppies that were in your garden this summer, tickets from any events that inspire you. Anything beautiful that reminds you of this place in you, your magical place. There's the tracing paper I talked about. You can buy this this one's in a roll. You can buy pads of it. So, you could paste this on top of that flower or partially on top and then write something about that flower. This is a page in my fuzzy gray book. I got this wrapping paper and I put it on top of this illustration of the trees. And it just makes me so happy. A lot of people will make a pile, sit down one day and get your beet juice, your black tea, your green tea, and just start drawing. Maybe you want just the edges to be brown. Maybe you want it to look burned. We can talk about how to do that. It's so easy and it's really fun. If you want it to look deckled, that's easy to accomplish too. We can talk about how to do that. These are different colors that you can get just from natural dyes that you have in your kitchen. If you look up here, this was the cover of watercolor pad, and it's tissue paper with paint on it and then an ink drawing on top. So found materials are the best. And you don't even have to do artwork. It can be words. It can be cut words from books and magazines or computer printouts. This is an old piece of mail that I turned into a cover of a little book about how the creatures are sacred to me. 2014. And these are just crazy. But you can see wrapping paper, magazines, just really loose, crazy paint, and a page from a book. Here's a map, some washi tape, paint, watercolor pencils. If you see anything you like, I can help you with different techniques. And now I'm going to take you to my art table. And we'll do just a little bit of walkthrough. Okay, so this is where I cross my fingers that I think I prepared enough and I got this going the right way, but we'll see. So I have to turn on my other camera, start video. Why isn't it going?
Kathy, we're seeing the black screen from your slideshow. Do you need to close that first in order for us to see?
Stop share. Oh, right, because that's like dominating the screen.
Right.
There we go. All right, so now what are we seeing? Where am
We're seeing you.
and I'm seeing you. Okay. Did my other screen go on? Okay, maybe I need to switch my mic. I'll mute this one.
We do see you in two places, the big U
All right.
and the
Is that
small
going to
U.
work?
So now we want to only see the small U on the phone.
Okay.
Right? Right.
There we go. All right. Let's see.
Yeah, it's working.
All right. So here we have, this is a set of cards. I'll turn, there we go. So you can see front and back. And then what I did is put a hole. And then they all go on here and they're attached together. Okay, so this is kind of a fun, take it with you, super easy. And you can rearrange it really well. This one is another set of cards that I wrap in fabric. And then that can come with me. You can add to it, change the sequence. Here's the wooden one. This, I thought I was gonna bind it and put some attachments on the side like you would a binder. But the pages that I got from people are different sizes. All right, so this is just, it's sort of a hodgepodge, but it's a beautiful pile of artwork. You can do the tabs back. There are lots of ways to attach these. Once you start going on Pinterest or YouTube, you can find all sorts of inspiration. So I'm always inspired when I see Cassie working in her huge journal. So I think this is a great idea, right? I got some kid art in here when my son was young. This is a book that I think one of these days is going to become a grimoire, because I'm kind of looking at the artwork in here, but it's at an exciting size and the paper is super nice. So if you're choosing a book, you can make it out of really old paper, but if you're going to paint and glue, you might want to choose one that has sturdy paper. And here's my crazy book. All right, let's see. So I actually have this starting from both ends. All right, so I've got, these are things that are going in there, but they're not pasted in yet. And so I liked this was part of the cookbook. I'm going to leave it there. And then when I don't know what I want to paint, but I want to get my paints out, I paint a background. And now this will hold something later on. My voices. These are the personalities that have come through in my deep soul writing, and the dates. These are our witches from songlines, and the I listen, I am home, we are one. And then just really special nuggets that I got from each of them. Some more blank pages. Here's that. See how this is on here and then it's not on here. These are some names that people have labeled me that I want to remember. It felt really special, from Marcia and Sabin. So I had a special tarot read for my Saturn return, so I put that in there. You see what I did here? I made this stick up. See, it's not the same height as the book. And I put good juju. This is my inspiration. Okay. And this, right? It's glued in there. It's big. I put this in there for Tina's story about chucking your starfish. Memory device. Here's another tab. You see how I have this sticking out? This is for my my saints. And then my sigils. Don't want to forget any of my sigils. And so you can see I have plenty of room in here to add more as I go. And this is okay for me, but this might drive some people crazy because it's a little bit of a hodgepodge. So you have to figure out what's going to be inspiring for you. Okay, I have a section of beautiful Madonna imagery. And so sometimes I just come here at the end of the day and just stare at the Black Madonna. And then what I did for my astrology stuff is I turned it over so that when I opened the back, there's Michael and Lucy. I've got my all my chandras for my natal South Node, Chiron, all the way through here. All my chandras. My birth chart. There's Magdala, the asteroid, and that'll keep going through time. And it feels really good. And it's super fun to hold, and it's not too big, right? You can, I mean, it's kind of big. So do you want yours to come with you or just live in your house? Okay, I'm going to switch back over. So there's a little tour. And it's just something for you to think about and get a sense. Just start listening inside your body for what's going to, did you see anything that makes you excited? And then start, figuring out what you want to check out, what you want to, how you want to make yours look, how you want to make it feel. So how do you want yours to feel? Try and find a book. In a minute, I'm gonna let Janet show you her book. So homework, find a book, find your form, 3-ring binder. Start collecting some supplies. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. Grab what you have, maybe make a little kit. Like any art project, writing project, it's easy when you have your supplies gathered so that it's not a huge effort every time you want to add something. So maybe you have a cloth bag that has extra paper and magazines and a few supplies in it, so that when you get the time, you can have some fun creating. If you like to look online, Pinterest, oh my goodness, just, all you have to do is type in grimoire or witch or spells, it's just crazy. Google anything, go into your deep soul writing, do some journeys, travel back in time to when you had a real grimoire and see what it looked like. See if do you love it? Is that what you'd like your real grimoire that you're going to have now to look like? Maybe ask for a glimpse of your grimoire in your dreams. Here's just, the very one scroll in Pinterest, all this yumminess. So I'm not sure when we're going to meet again. We'll do this when it's a good time. And we'll just keep working through. The way I see it is, find a book. And the next time, what I will talk about is thinking through organizing it and what sort of categories, and we can have more of a conversation. So find a book, have an idea of the style, and just grab supplies, magazines, old photos, copies of old photos if you don't want to put the real ones in there. So Janet um, has a very cool book to show us. And the minute we started talking about Grimoire, got up and went right to her shelf. Yeah.
But you just blew the ideas pouring into my head are just
Oh,
like,
good.
so I'm going to show you my grimoire, but I'm also realizing that I also want to have a box,
Yeah.
my witch basket. And I saw it on Etsy months ago. And I said, there's a woman in Cornwall that makes witch boxes. And at the time, I went, no, I just can't afford it. I just can't afford it. I want to have both. So I gave this journal, this book to my son when I mean, we were in this house, so fifth, sixth, seventh grade, and he's 35 years old now. And it's totally handmade paper. I found it at this, I found it online. I don't know. It's called An Alchemist's Soul Book. And it was put out by, I think the website was called Aziba. It doesn't exist anymore. It fell apart financially. And I think I got this like in the last few months that it existed. So look at all this. It's completely handmade paper. And you can see I've had it a lot. He never opened it. He thought it was very cool. But obviously, doesn't this happen all the time? That you get something or you buy a book and you have no idea that you, 20 years later, no, more than that, right? This will be my book. So it says here, with its mysterious mask-like hand-sculpted cover, our red soul book is a product of pure alchemy. In one of the most isolated indigenous communities in the high Sierras, the women of Chiapas, Mexico, create this paper album from a real earth recipe. After gathering corn husks, gladiola stems, banana trunks, palm leaves, lichen, look at that, Kathy, lichen and moss. This would be such a perfect book for you. From the forest floor, they pour their ingredients into big boiling vats. This is a witch book. Then beat the fibers in a mill spun by bicycle power. While the paper dries in the sun, the women chant and dance, sharing their dreams and visions. Even the paper inside is handmade. 67, that's interesting because it's 13, don't you think? 67 sandy beige sheets you can fill with blah, 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 blah. This is a personal gift from Mother Earth to you. It's 10 by 10. I would send everybody to this. It doesn't exist. So I'm going to start. And one of the big ideas I got from you, Kathy, is if you open it this way, you're going to such and such a place. But if you open it this way, this other thing is happening. But I am going to go see if I can find that box. And if I can't, Kathy, you could paint a box, right?
Well, yes. And so here's what I want to say. I want to say that whatever form you want this to take, we can figure out how to do it. I love the shimmery fabrics, and so that my books have to have that. Becca might weave a cover for hers, or maybe hers is in a bag that you make, or maybe it's just a piece of fabric that's folded over. You know, what is it that feels so special that you would want to look at it every day and just pour yourself into? This is a celebration of this work that we're doing. It's not easy work all the time. Each of the sigils that we've received, comes with forgiveness and looking at our shadows and into dark corners. So this is a celebration. It should be so much fun. And what I would hope, because I've done art my whole life and I've done a whole bunch of kinds of art, and I know that you have too. So hopefully we can kind of collaborate. And if you say, well, I wish mine, had a lock on the cover, well, let's figure out how to do that. And if you love to knit, then you need to knit your cover or the bag or, the wrapping. Maybe it's a round bag. I don't know. Maybe you're not going to have pages. So this first time is about figuring out what it is you love, how that meshes with your magical life, what you want it to look like, and then start gathering stuff. Yeah, magazine, I don't have too many magazines right now, but I do get seed catalogs, and there are flowers and plants and beautiful photos in there. You really don't have to go out and buy things if if you're looking for something and you don't have it. I don't know, maybe post in the group because other people have. I've just got like so much paper because of my life as a graphic designer. It's probably not like that for everybody, but get really creative, get really resourceful. Don't feel like you have to spend a lot of money. It's not about that at all. It's making it come from you and having it look like you. You don't have to show anyone. You can show the whole world. But mostly it should be really fun. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but this was awesome. And as you were going through, it reminded me of this book that I started many, many years ago that I was going to convert into was calling it the Book of the Dead.
Uh-huh.
Have all my dead kind of written in here. And so when I started it, apparently I started a grimoire. I didn't realize it because I have also kind of like fun pages in here all put together.
You're doing it.
I was already doing it and didn't realize it.
You're already doing it and realizing it. Yeah. And so I have some I saw a grimoire on a movie, and it was kind of like my book, but it had like all these things inserted in there, and I get how that happens because if you're doing a sequence, sometimes you're going to need to insert something. Well, then they had it had a man's belt around it, and I don't know, it was just so cool because stuff was sticking out, but it was still contained. If you work with a book like that you have, Tony, and it starts to get too thick because things are, you're pasting extra pages in there. What I do is I actually cut out of that cookbook. I put a something to protect underneath it, and with an X-Acto, I cut out a few pages, and then that makes it feel more organized. There are all sorts of tricks that you can do.
Yeah, I was also at I just found some pages that I glued together because I didn't like what was in there, but I could see them through the light.
Yeah, you just do it. Just do exactly what you want.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Shoshana.
So I found a book that I thought I'd like to use. It's an old calendar book. The pages are really nice and they're gilded, but it's got stuff all over it, right? So if I don't want to make it super thick by pasting everything over the top of it, what can I do to white it out? Like what can I paint with to make it like white so I can start again?
Yep. So that's what gesso is for, Gesso. And gesso is usually, it's either white or black, and it's highly pigmented. and it should dry so that it's not sticky, and it's meant to cover up what's underneath it. You can do you can do that. It will add a little bit of heft to your book there. You can do what I was saying with Tony is remove some of those pages. I mean, this is not going to end up being a perfect thing unless you want it to be. I don't mind if mine has like stuff flying out of it. Yeah, so some gesso, it usually comes in kind of a little tub, and the easiest way to put that on, if you're going to be doing it a lot, find a place, put your book out, get some paper that's bigger than each page. And so if you're going to paint this page, put a piece of paper behind here, okay? So that now put your gesso on, and with an old credit card, just spread. And that way it's going to be nice and smooth, and it's not going to take you forever to do it with a brush. And then when you're finished with that page, just put it in a place where you can leave it out. And then pull that page from underneath, and now these are not stuck together. Let's see, Terry Gray says, I was creating one in high school and it was lost. It was so comforting. Yeah, mine is very comforting. I'm so sorry that yours was lost. What a bummer. Maybe somebody found it and it brought them even more comfort. Yeah, it sort of feels like the whole house is a grimoire. Bobby agreed, is getting that way. Oh, and you were lost. When our whole family moved from our small town to the big city, and I was lost. Okay, your book comforted you because you made this big move. Beautiful. Absolutely. It reminds me who I am often. And I talk about this a lot in our learning gatherings and journeys is, for me, the more time I spend in this realm, the happier I am. And so that's also why I like to see my book. I like to have it out. If I don't know what I want to put in it, I'm gessoing the pages and painting them and getting them ready, because then that's where my head is. I'm not doing my shopping list or figuring out what I'm going to make for dinner. Becca, go for it.
Hi, thank you. Sorry, I'll apologize again for being disruptive earlier. I didn't mean to be. My husband got me this amazing giant leather-bound book. I'll take background blur off here for a second. And it's got this key that locks it all together. And then it's all handmade paper inside that is so beautiful.
Wow.
So this is I've had this for several years, and I keep thinking, once I'm a better artist, once I get more skilled at it, once I can actually draw the herbs that I want to add to all my herbal recipes, and so now I'm feeling more inspired just to get started, and then as I go, if there's something I didn't like that I did before, I'll just take it out and redo it and not worry as much about being a perfectionist with it. So
No,
no time like today to get started.
no time like today, right? You could wait forever, but we don't want to do that. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just start. That's beautiful.
And Connor will
Becca.
be happy. It keeps asking if I'm ever going to do anything with it.
Oh,
So.
It's so nice that you have that support.
That's true. Yeah, he likes to push me to do those things for myself too.
Well, a happy mama, a happy partner. Yeah, it's a good thing. I love the intricate shaped multiple unfold book from the dark crystal. Yeah, there's lots of what's the Vampire Diaries? There's a really beautiful grimoire in there that they have to search for, and they lose and they find again. There's lots of inspiration in movies.
Practical Magic has a beautiful trifold leather bound one that flips upside down, and it's like a completely separate book.
Right.
For the Owens women, yeah, they're just beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you,
Cathy,
everyone.
this is exactly what I've been waiting for. I still, right at this moment, have no idea which direction I'm going in, but I'm going to sit with it and just believe that the right thing will come at the right time. I'm thinking right off the bat of I think it's a mixed media journal that I have that I've started putting things in, and it kind of got lost on my art table somewhere. But I'd like to dig that out and think maybe this is a start of what I want to have. If not, I can take out what I like in there and put it in something new. So I don't know. Those are just ideas I'm throwing around in my head. But anything you can throw out there, Cathy, sounds wonderful, especially at this time of autumn, the fall equinox. Everything's new, everything's changing. It's my favorite time of year, so it's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. I see the calendar behind you. Calendars are usually made out of really nice paper, and that's a good book to use.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, just get creative, see what it, be curious maybe, if you don't have an idea as you're going through life in the next couple weeks. Something will come to you, right? We know that's how it works. Ask for it, and you'll see it.
Cathy,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Freddie.
I'm so glad we took time to look at this morning. I'm so inspired. It's been fabulous. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah.
So grab some of your napkins
Well,
or
I
something
recognize
from.
the stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And you'll have something from your trip that you probably want to put in there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've written down a whole bunch of stuff already. I got 2 pages of stuff.
Great. It's so good to see the two of you together on your adventure.
Yeah.
If we maybe we'll start a separate group for a grimoire in Facebook. I don't know. We'll talk to Janet about that. Because we could share. Terry Gray says Nostalgic Impressions has medieval handmade leather bound paper in 3 sizes, right? A place maybe to share resources.
That does make a lot of sense because Art 5 is divination. I mean, come on, so this is, and Cathy and I have been wanting to do this. I think we might have mentioned it in Art 1.
Yeah.
But it was like when, and I mean, and finally we just put the brakes on and said, we're doing this now. It doesn't matter that we're just doing it. And I think I wish we had started it at the beginning of the witch sequence because the whole story would be there. But I'm going to go back and find the jewels from Art 1, Art 2, Art 3. Like in Art 1, I got my dragon sigils and my name. All of that's going in. It doesn't start today. Like I need to put in radiant blue, that unbelievable. I need to put in a picture of you, Cathy, surrounded in blue. I need to put in Lucy and Michael's portraits. I need to put in Draconis. So it will be this ongoing, all of this to say, yes, I think probably having a special group just to talk about grimoire, because this conversation is going to continue not only to the end of the witch sequence, but beyond. Our Lady Queen of Magicians has hinted to Cathy and Emma and I what happens after this ends, and it's bigger than anything we're doing. So yeah, let's have a special place for mystic witches and merfolks to gather to share.
All right. a new Facebook group it is.
Do you want me to create it or do you want to?
Oh, I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I'll do it, and we'll invite everybody that's in Art 4, and yeah, and then yeah, it's going to continue through time because it takes a while and different ideas come. And yeah, divination is really going to be exciting. Yes, bringing the divine into our everyday.
That's what the book is. If it's my book of enchantments, my book of spells, then it is a serious divination book. And box, and basket, and cards,
I'm
and
excited.
altar.
Yeah, I don't know of this box, but that
I'll
sounds
go
like
find it on Etsy for you.
okay. Yeah,
And the woman will paint what you want on it. And I said, can I have a whale? She said, sure. So,
beautiful.
I have to say, I love the idea of a box or basket. Because I have journals, you know, our art journals with Emma, it's getting so thick.
yeah.
I really love that basket or yeah.
Cassie's not here with us right now, but she has the biggest witch basket you have ever seen in your entire life. And she just, you know, tosses stuff. I mean, the thing, how big is it, Satkar? You know, it's like this big. She can put paintings that are this big in it. And it's Mary Poppins for witches. It's Mary Poppins on steroids. It is the coolest thing. So Satkar, tell her she has to bring it to the closing celebration. She has to be at the closing celebration so that we can see. I mean, this is like a grimoire that's this big.
Janet, show your basket, because if people you haven't shown
Oh,
it
my
in
little
Art
basket.
4. Yeah.
This is true. So, yeah, and what we have done in Art 1 through, what are we on now, 4? So in Art 1 through 3, at the end, we get our artifact. Cute, huh? Art effect, and it would be a thing, some special sacred thing to go in our witch basket. And Goddess bless Etsy. I found this as soon as whalebone came through, as soon as witch came. A woman in Shropshire makes it. This is a hazel, which of course is a witch. This is willow. She hand makes it. I've been to her site a million times and there's nothing like this. I just took one look at it and all I did was Google witch basket or willow basket. It had to be willow because the young character's name is Willow. I typed in willow basket and boom, there it was. I bought it within, 5 seconds. So it sits on my altar and we put in our little, what's our nifty stuff. So I have some rosaries in here. I have Kathy's little, so everybody needs, now this isn't big enough. You see how small that is? To hold all the cool stuff I want to. But, and when I pray, I would walk around the living room holding this, knowing that Willow, who's 5 years old, was holding it with me and we would say the rosary together. Yeah, everybody needs a witch basket. Maybe everybody needs several.
I think so. And my witch basket was, I'll put this in our Facebook group when I create it, was an old purse of my grandmother's.
That's right. That's right.
And I mean, that would be, mine would be too small, but I could totally see housing your grimoire elements in some sort of a handbag. This is a really old Art Deco, beautiful purse.
And Freddie showed us a sewing basket. We were all so jealous of that sewing basket. It's like, an old great grandmother's sewing basket, and it's all tufted. And yeah, there's no end to which things. Satkar, you've got your hand up.
I wanted to super quickly show, I know everyone loves to share, but when you said box, I couldn't resist. A friend of mine made this as a birthday gift for me years ago. It is just an old box. So you can see if I hold it up by my head, so it's about this big. She glued on, there's this beautiful little handle. She put on a silk ribbon with some crystals on top. I'm sorry if you're getting vertigo the way I'm turning it. She used, it's a technique, decoupage, like you can use glue on, and then inside, she decorated the inside. She glued paper. There's a picture of, because I teach yoga, it's a Hindu deity as a teacher, Saraswati, and it says faith, journey, spirit. She loves going to stores and yard sales and getting things. And then so she decorated the inside as well. So I emptied it out. I should send a funny picture of all my, it's a little bit like the squirrel who built a nest in the hood of my car recently. It was a bit of a nest, but it's just an example of the box is, it could be a, this isn't shoebox, but you know what I mean, like a box. Anyway, thank you for letting me share. And her nickname is Glinda the Good Witch.
Oh my gosh, I love Glinda. That is a precious gift. Wow. I'm so glad you showed us. Yeah, so if you want a box, and you know, you can also keep your eyes open for what comes in the mail. Oh my goodness, right? We could just go anywhere with this. Wonderful. Anybody else want to say anything?
I just want to say that reminds me that I have a old-fashioned from my mom, a wooden picnic basket.
Mm.
You know, the old, wooden woven, and it even has a little woven shelf that's on the top. That
Sounds
totally
perfect.
reminded you when you showed your box, so I'm glad you did.
Well, and you're just blowing my mind, Kathleen, because downstairs on top of the armoire, I have, my husband bought it in London in 1981 or 82, traveling with Reagan all the time for CNN, a traditional willow British picnic. You know, it opens like this, and inside are blue teacups. And I have said to Jerry and Maura, it's yours, because doesn't everybody need to go to a picnic in the park carrying, but maybe but Mom might, and you're also making me realize, Satkar, when you posted that, I purchased for my husband, when he was still my husband, years ago for, I don't remember if it was Christmas, an antique sailor's box, because he was a sailor and built sailboats. And it's heavy. I mean, this thing is heavy. And you try to imagine a man getting on a ship when he's going to be on this ship for 8 months, a year. And it had a tiny little shelf. And, it's like this, what fits in there? How do you live out of this box? Anyway, I had it painted in the colors of his boat company, green and cream, and a picture of one of his sailboats on the inside on tea covered paper. I'll show it to you the next time we get together. And it sits in Jerry's room. When Jerry was in prison, everybody sent things, and I opened the box and put all these things in it. And I am just realizing that it should be right there under my altar, because he's right here, right? I think that would make him so happy. We'll talk about a witch box. Wow. So I think what we're all going is, wait a second, I already have. Wait a second, I already have. Wait a second, I inherited this. Wait a second, this is my mother's. Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Because, it's not an accident that we're here as mystic witches. Of course we already have. Of course I bought this crazy thing for my son who never touched it, right? Witches have stuff. We have stuff.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Jerry had that? I don't know. That might be a crazy thing for a teenage boy to have.
Well, he seemed appreciative at the time. However, he never touched it because he knew, I knew, it's waiting for Mom. It's waiting for Mom.
It was yours, yeah.
So this is going to be the anchor, and it is going to be, right here on my altar. This matters. Come on. But then I could have the sailor's box down there, and everything in this room is witch stuff. everything. There was nothing in this room that isn't sacred to me. So
there's your castle. Yeah, nice.
yeah, my big takeaway, it's not one thing, it's not one box. When you showed, oh, it could be cards, and oh, it could be this, and oh, it could be this, all our brains are going chicka-ching, chicka-ching, chicka-ching. You know, they're all witch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I saw somebody make a book out of greeting cards, you know, so I don't know if you still get holiday cards. We do. Those are easy to bind into different signatures and make a book. And they're nice and heavy too. So yeah, just look around. So your homework is figure out how you want it to feel. See if you can find something to house it and start pulling together some art supplies, maybe a special pen. We're going to talk about that. Everything that's part of this process is sacred. It's like a prayer every time you put something in there. So a special pen, if you're going to do a lot of writing, is a nice idea. Maybe it's a beloved's pen or a pen that inspires you, that spirit comes through as you're writing. Yeah. If we don't have any more questions, do we feel complete?
Oh, we are so complete, but absolutely everybody has to unmute themselves and thank our Murafor, mystic, witch, artist, magician. Cathy, you just, I work with you practically every day on the witch sequence, and you still blow my fucking mind. So everybody express your gratitude to
Thank
Dean
you,
Klein.
Kathy.
So much, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Goddess Sister. You are radiant and
Thank you.
wildly
Thank you.
inspiring.
Magic,
Thank you.
magic. I can't wait.
It's an honor. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have to have a place to put all this. And I'm glad I get to do it with you.